Hello everyone, welcome to Lotus Heart Tarot. I am very excited to have you here today. This is a super special day. We are introducing a new tarot deck on the channel created by one of our members, our subscribers, our fellow Piscean, Jen, who has been a longtime watcher and supporter of our channel, has created the 8-year tarot. And you guys, it is a spectacular work of art. It is a huge honor to me to be able to introduce it to all of you. It will be available through Kickstarter beginning in October, and I will be sure to get you the links to that. But a huge round of applause to Jen. What an honor. She even created a card for me, the White Lotus card, and it's beautiful. She even gifted me the original art of the card, which is beautiful and is promptly taking a spot on a very important wall to me. And I am just so excited and so proud and so honored. Honestly, I can't wait to get to it. And yeah, so here it is. This is the original deck. There is no other deck at this time, just this one. How exciting is that? Created by a fellow Pisces. All right, guys, we will get there. Let's begin with our oracle cards. Woo! Here we go. For Pisces. For Pisces, please, Spirit. What does Pisces need to know right now? What does Pisces need to know right now? All right. Okay, you have efficiency and center. Ooh, I actually love this energy. Okay, man. So, we talk about the Wheel of Fortune all the time in tarot, right? Where you have your choice. Where do you want to ride on the Wheel of Fortune? The Wheel of Fortune and its turning is inevitable. It is just a constant. It is a law of the universe. It is always moving. It is always turning, right? We can ride it on the outside of the wheel, right? Which is where we ride when we have no discipline, when we have no set of intention, when we are none the wiser and we don't realize there's any other option. This is where we begin, right? As we mature, as we develop tools, in life, through experience, through all kinds of things, we have the opportunity to move closer and closer to the center of the wheel. And what does that do for our experience living? Well, it takes it away from feeling like a roller coaster ride that we're totally out of control over, that we're up, we're down, we're, all of these things. And it's just exhausting and draining and never ending, and we can get no rest from it. Or we can be the grounded center, the pillar of consciousness that holds that wheel as it spins, and that keeps us centered and grounded in our place of peace. The world will always turn. That the Wheel of Fortune is always going to go. But if we're at the center, we're not experiencing these huge ups and downs, and yeah, even changing one thing will move us closer to the center. It will make it easier for us. If we're always searching for validation outside ourselves, sometimes we're going to make people happy and we're going to feel super up and we're going to be like, wow, the world is really responding to what I'm doing and I'm successful and this feels blissful and happy and joyous. But we can't please all the people all of the time. So we're going to also experience the bottom of that. And we're going to take that arc. We're going to feel that. And when you've been up here and then you come down here, it's so exhausting. It's so exasperating. You're like, what did I do different? Why didn't what I did get me the same result? Well, because the person you need to please in this world is not anyone or anything outside yourself. It's you. And when you're pleasing yourself, you're maintaining, Bhakti, no. don't know why you guys love to tear up cardboard like that, but you can't. So when you stop seeking that external validation and you start just focusing on you and whether you feel good about you, whether you're staying true to you, you maintain that sense of peace. You maintain that sense of center, and you're not going up and down. You're just like, how am I doing me with me? You're not looking outside yourself for validation. You're just looking to yourself for validation. And that's what this is saying. That's where the true richness lies. And it's not just about external validation. It's about everything, you know. But anyway, that was just an example. Okay. You know, I don't know why this just came to me, but like, I feel compelled to say, when I'm reading tarot, I do not look at other people's faces to see, you know, is this resonating? Do you, are you responding to what I'm saying? Because I don't want to read for your response. I want to read the messages and not be affected by the response. Wow. This is so interesting. So, a lot of cards came out, and I really was only looking for one or two. I do love these cards, and I did choose all nature cards today to go with Jen's deck that she created, the 8-year tarot, from her original paintings and artwork of the last 8 years. It's just a spectacular thing. I cannot wait to dive into it. But what we have here is we have, it's an incredibly interesting thing. So even in the center here, okay, we have the great white egret, which, well, actually, I think this is just a regular egret, but I just saw a great white egret the other day, and it was down almost like a tunnel of trees. There was like a creek, but it was like a canal. It was part of a drainage system, but it looked natural in this area. Do you know what I mean? And there was like this canopy of trees growing over it, and the tunnel, just my eye went down the tunnel of trees and water, and there was this great white egret, which all of it was so dark. Everything was like dark green and muddy and murky, and then there's this pristine, gorgeous, calm, unexpected, bright white, pure, almost made more pure by the environment it was in, bird standing there. And it just took my breath away, and it was spectacular. And this energy, okay, in the center of these oracle cards that came out is the owl and the egret. And the owl, we always associate this with higher levels of wisdom, with focus. It's kind of a high priestessy type energy, right? And this egret, it's giving me the purity of this bright white. It is often in murky waters. It is often in the swamps, I've photographed egrets many, many times, and there are cattle egret that eat the flies off of cows' rear ends. They're white, but they're just, and they maintain this white. I can't say that I've ever seen like a super dirty one or anything. I've never really thought about that before, but like they're always this bright white, pristine energy surrounded by kind of dirtiness, or like, Mother Nature, is not necessarily clean, you know what I mean? It is what it is, and it's dirt and trees and complications and I don't know, but it is definitely giving me that staying in the center of the Wheel of Fortune type energy and maintaining like the purity of your own consciousness of your own soul, and just recognizing the muddiness and the murkiness and the swampiness of everything that is around you as just that. It's connected, but it's separate than you. You know, how we navigate that space is our choice entirely. The fact that that space exists is just what it is. Do you get what I mean? I hope so. But this is a higher level of consciousness. This is living from our highest and best self. Then you have this, on this side, we have the Robin, which is talking about new beginnings, cheer, cycles. You know, my grandma would always say the Robin was the harbinger of spring. And she would always be so excited the first time she saw a robin. Guys, can you take your tug of war out there, please? For me, please. I know you just want to play. You just want to play, but could you go play it in that big area right there? And you could have way more fun, that you wouldn't be in a tight place. Anyway, you know, it's like the thing that comes that tells you, you know, we're about to embark on a new adventure, right? This is exciting. You know, we're about to see a bunch of flowers and things are going to green up, and, you know, the whole world will be bursting with life and celebration and joy, you know? And then you have the cowbird, and it's interesting because my dad told me a long time ago that cowbirds don't, is it starlings or cowbirds? And maybe, okay, cowbirds may not raise their own young. Yeah, a baby cowbird is abandoned by its biological parents from birth, as the foster parents of another species raise it. And sometimes it's the robins that raise it. So this is fascinating to me. But here it is. So the cowbird says relationships, acknowledgement, redefinition. And so, this message is so complex and it's hard for me to say. It's almost like, okay, like the spectrum, right? Of when a new beginning presents itself, the super hyper light side of that energy is the excitement, is the like, I choose this is thrilling, like I can't wait to see what unfolds, you know? And then there's the other end of the spectrum, the abandonment, I'm afraid to try, what if I fail? Yeah, I can acknowledge that there's an opportunity here, but I'm about to give every excuse in the book to not take it, because the fear of committing to it or being responsible for the outcome of the beginning paralyzes me before I've even begun it. Do you know what I'm saying? And so it's a choice point, right? Where I choose to take this, I choose to live it, I choose to say yes to life, or I am afraid of it, I fear it, I release it, I say no to life kind of energy here, okay? Over here. Here, you have the cardinal and the chickadee, and other than them being like birds of North America that I totally associate with, you know, growing up in the middle Atlantic states, I mean, we do have cardinals here. I don't really see chickadees here, though. They both have an energy of leadership. And it's interesting because the chickadee, if you watch them, they're super social birds. They're like the life of the party. They're like the good time bud that you are always kind of happy to see. They're not aggressive. They don't take seeds from other birds. They share and sort of just bring an infusion of frenetic energy and life to the party. Where a cardinal is very stately. A cardinal almost knows, right, that they're special, that they're bright red, and that they are kind of regal. And they sort of take themselves more seriously than a chickadee. And as a result, they get a different response from other birds. And I can't believe we're going all in on birds today. This is so funny. I love birds. I am like a bird lover. I used to do like the Audubon backyard bird count. I would be like the youngest person there. I like freaking love birds. But anyway, there's this energy of how we show up and the energy that we have. Neither one is better or worse. The chickadee might give you a little bit of a feeling of a people pleaser, or a, someone who, sort of just doesn't really they want to be approachable to everyone. They don't want to put on airs like they're better. And the cardinal may be a little bit more elusive. They may sort of, really hold on to their value and worth, or be like, you have to earn your way to get my respect, to get me to turn my head toward you, kind of energy. And that's sort of its own spectrum. Above all of these energies, you have the falcon. And the falcon, they are precise, and they are all about, it's like a choice. I'm flying along. Do I dive down and take that? Do I dive down and grab it? Do I dive down and make that mine or not? And all of this energy is kind of giving me a very introspective, point of view of sort of looking at spectrums of choices of how I am, how I approach things, how I respond to things. And is that the choice that I want to make consciously? Am I getting the results that I want? Does my life look the way that I want it to look? And if it doesn't, where is the stumbling point? What is the obstacle? What is kind of tripping me up here? And it's almost sort of, a lot of times we put our focus on things outside ourselves, and we try to control the things outside ourselves in order to make our life look the way that we want. When the reality is, it's all choice points within ourselves, and the outside responds to what we say to ourselves inside. And how we are treating ourselves inside, and the dialogue that's going on inside. And it's so crazy. Yesterday or the day before, my husband and I were driving home from somewhere. I don't even remember where we were driving home from. And it was weird. I saw a falcon, and I hadn't seen one in a really long time. And now all of a sudden, that vision just popped into my head. It was just in the last 2 days. And it was literally at the front of my neighborhood. So I don't know. Anyway, but it's bringing the, taking our power back from everything that we've sort of given it outside to, and sort of knowing that it is our choice, and that how we approach life and how we, affect change has nothing to do with what we get, consume, hunt, gather. It has nothing to do with that. Those things come to us when we are a magnetic frequential match. When we look within ourselves and introspect honestly and truthfully and say, where is my life not lining up with my vision for my life? And what could I shift within myself that could bring change to that? Or that could affect something different. You have the hummingbird on the bottom of the deck, which is, I tell the story all the time about how the hummingbird travels across the Gulf of Mexico without stopping. The Gulf of Mexico is freaking humongous. This bird is the size of my thumb. It literally does the impossible in its migration every year. And it spreads joy. It literally looking at it and how quickly its wings beat and how in the world it can possibly get enough sustenance and nutrients from nectar. It's just mind-blowing. If you ever see a hummingbird nest and you see how teeny tiny their eggs are, and know that that is life teeming inside that, and that what is going to burst forth from that tiny itty bitty little egg is going to be able to fly across the Gulf of Mexico at some point in its life. It is just the whole thing about a hummingbird. It's just, you're literally just looking at something that is just mind-blowing the whole time you're looking at it. I mean, to me, that is what it represents. And it is that reminder that we can do anything. And, you know, the hummingbird believes that it can, and it has for generations, and for maybe since it wasn't, you know, brought into existence as a species, always done the impossible. It doesn't even realize it's doing the impossible. It doesn't think twice about it. It just does it because that's what it does. And that's the thing. We're all capable of that. We are all capable of that. All right, you guys, it's our choices, and it is, you know, being able to look at things and ask ourselves, you know, are these choices representational of what I aspire to be, or are they representational about the baggage or past experiences that are limiting me and burdening me? Wow. The crocus is like a harbinger of spring, like the robin is. You guys are coming into a brand new period where you're going to be blooming. Like, I can just feel that. You have, so the violet here is on the bottom of the deck with the hummingbird, which I freaking love this energy. And it says faithfulness and modesty. And when I was talking about the hummingbird and its impossibility, oftentimes, you know, maybe if I were a hummingbird, right? And I was like, okay, you know, me being me, having the life experience that I've had as a human being turned into a hummingbird, okay? Let's just go there, all right? And I'm standing at the shores of the Gulf of Mexico, and I'm like, well, all the other hummingbirds are doing it. All the other hummingbirds are able to do it. That must mean I'm able to do it. And so I take flight and I set out across the Gulf of Mexico. And all of a sudden, you know, I'm getting really hungry and I'm really tired and my wings are just not, you know, they don't seem to be as efficient. And I'm like, you know, I don't even see land in sight. I don't know when the Gulf of Mexico is going to give way to land, to where I can get something to eat, to where I can rest these aching, you know, wings, meet up with my family again, like whatever it is, right? And so I lose faith and I turn around and head back to where I came from. Because I lose faith that I'm going to actually find land, that I'm actually going to get there. The faith that I had to start off the trek, right? That everyone else is doing it, that, you know, hummingbirds have been doing this for hundreds of years. It's like, because I don't see the result, and because I begin to feel the struggle, and because I begin to feel the doubt and the fear creep in, it causes me to turn around and go back. Even though if I would have just kept going, I probably could have done it. I probably would have done it. You know, if you talk to marathon runners, oftentimes they'll say that, like, at some point their body just sort of gives up and they don't even know how they keep going. They just do. Because we are capable of more than we know. Because we can when we push ourselves. And that's the thing. We don't often push ourselves. A lot of times we choose the cowbird strategy in life, where we're like, you know, I don't really want to be responsible for this kid, so I'm just going to pass him off to this robin who's going to take care of my eggs, sometimes at the expense of their own eggs too. My dad told me that. I don't know if that's all, you know, I just, there we go. But the thing is, like, this is what happens, you know, when fear and doubt creep in. We don't find out what we are truly capable of, you know, and sometimes you just have to go for it, and you just have to commit to it, and you just have to do it. I was telling Jen yesterday when I was looking at her deck for the first time, I was saying to her, you know, I had told Jen in a reading that if she made a deck, I would use it on my channel, and I encouraged her to make the deck. I have done this many times in life, okay? When I was a photographer, I would volunteer to have people be an apprentice with me. I can't tell you how many times people came to me and they were like asking me all these questions and asking me like, what advice do you have? And, you know, And I made offers to them of many things, to come and shadow me on a job, a really cool job, to meet really cool people, to do all this. I had one person in all that time take me up on it and actually follow through on it. And so when the tarot deck came in the mail, I said to Jen, I said, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. Like, you are the second person ever. And there were many times where Jen could have turned around and not done it. There were many times where Jen could have been overwhelmed by the process. I mean, we start off with something thinking like, oh yeah, like I can do this. I have so many paintings that I can turn into a tarot deck, But then actually sitting with that and letting it speak to you, and more than that, it is those voices of self-doubt that come in that kind of make us question whether or not we can do it, or that we should do it, or who the hell do we think we are that we're qualified to do it, or all of these things. But when you push through, the result is something phenomenal and beautiful. You guys, my favorite Hermit card, you know how many decks I have. My favorite Hermit card that I've ever seen in my entire life is in this deck. The Sun card is off the chain. I mean, I love the Ace of Cups in this deck. I mean, I truly just love this deck. And I'm just, you know, when we have the courage to see something through to completion, something that we don't know if we have any business to do, something that we don't know if we're qualified to do, when we don't let fear get us, and we don't let doubt get us, and we just stick to it and we just do it, the things we can achieve are unreal. And, you know, the universe gives us these opportunities in the forms of aces, in the forms of new beginnings. And those aces hold all the potential. What we do with them is up to us, you know? I mean, the first time I had a director saw, this is how I ended up being a photographer in the entertainment industry. He saw my work. I had a solo show. He saw my work and he called me up and he said, listen, have you ever photographed theater? And I said, no. And he said, have you ever taken any classes on photographing theater? And I said, no. And he goes, do you think you'd be able to photograph theater the same way you photograph nature? And I said, I don't know. And he goes, okay, well, how much do I have to pay you to try? Without taking a class, without looking at a single tutorial, without looking at anything about theater photography, what would it take for you to come here and photograph this production of Hair that I'm doing? And I was like, okay. So we work out the contract agreement, and I'm scared to death. This person is flying me to be the sole recorder of a major production of Hair. And I'm like, I have no experience. I have no business doing this. I'm terrified the whole time. I mean, I'm getting on the plane and I am like literally trembling. And I went and I photographed it and I gave it everything I have, and I learned so much about myself. And to this day, that director is my best friend who I'm always talking about. It's him. And I say to him all the time, and I thank him all the time, because I said to him, you gave me the opportunity to find out that I could do something that I didn't know I was capable of. And that is the most tremendous opportunity anyone really has ever given me. That I never would have known that I could have done this. I never would have had that opportunity to face that fear had you not seen that in my work and convinced me to try and given me the opportunity. And that's what the universe does when they put an ace in your path. They give you the opportunity to expand and grow and to realize your own limitlessness. The universe is always trying to show you the ways in which you are limitless. We miss it. We miss it because we're so bogged down in the human aspects of life and the material aspects of life and measuring ourselves against things that have no bearing on our soul. We don't take our bank accounts with us. Our bank account does not tell God whether we were worthy at the end of our life or whether we did the most we could with what he gave us. No, that has nothing to do with it. It is, that feeling within ourselves, how far we push ourselves to understand our own true nature and to play with this experiment that we're in. Okay, and then, so, guys, I don't even know where this reading is coming from. It's insane. But so we have to stay faithful to things that we cannot see. We have to stay faithful in those moments of self-doubt. Then you have the crocus, cheerfulness. Again, the crocus, like a lot of times will come up in inches of snow and reveal itself. This flower that's been there underneath the surface, doing what it needed to do to come up and be beautiful. And then you have the anemone, which is anticipation. And then you have the hibiscus, which is beauty and happiness. Guys, there is an opportunity coming towards you that is coming in the form of an ace. It's coming in the form of something that you're happy to see, something that you have a really positive response to. Anticipation is a very interesting energy. It says, I felt like an arrow pulled back and ready to be knocked into something big. That's the quote by A.B. Shepherd that's on this card. I love these cards, by the way, too. They are called Botanical Inspirations by Lynn Arajo. She's lovely. She's a wonderful person. She's on Instagram. She's great. But anyway, this energy is like the holding in your hand of the potential. Okay, I'm a hummingbird. Here's my opportunity to cross the Gulf of Mexico, and I know it's going to test me. I know it's going to be hard. I know technically maybe it's impossible or I can't do it, but I feel the power, of that, of being the arrow pulled back and ready for where to hit something big. I feel like that energy, that potential. I feel it when I'm sitting here, because when you manifest and when you really connect to the universe and you really connect to your limitlessness, it's much more a feeling than a concrete idea or a deep understanding. It's this, oh, wow, I can feel this is big. This is really big. And when we give in to this energy and we trust this energy and we don't let fear and doubt usurp the opportunity that we've been given, we arrive at beauty and happiness. And it says, a thing of beauty is a joy forever, John Keats. And the pictures that I took during hair are somewhat iconic. Like the lighting designer of that show, who's kind of a very big deal, still uses those pictures from 15 years ago to on his own website to advance his own career. There was something so special and magical about that entire production and just about all of it. But anyway, when it resonates with your soul, it's beautiful forever, like this tarot deck. So here you are. It is my greatest pleasure to introduce you to the 8-year tarot made by our fellow subscriber to the channel, Jen. And again, it will be available on Kickstarter in October. So I will keep you informed, but let's enjoy and see what gorgeous messages the universe delivers here today with this deck. First time ever being used. All right, here we go for Jen. All right, you guys, let's see what we have. Wow, the Lovers. That is crazy. Jen said that when she saw this painting, she knew that, how I'm always saying the masculine is looking at the feminine and the feminine is looking at the divine. Oh my gosh, you guys, the Hermit came out the first time. Look at this Hermit card. Just look at it. Oh. I could tell you all the reasons why I love it, but it just, you look at it intuitively. I love that card. And here's the Empress. The other part of the painting is the Emperor. Maybe we'll see him. These cards are just, the Chariot. Oh my gosh, you guys. Okay, wow. I don't even want to cover them up in any way. Okay, so we have the Chariot, the Nine of Cups, the Hermit, and the Empress. Man, oh man, oh man. What a freaking combination of cards, especially talking about what we're talking about. You know, the Chariot is when we are so in alignment, you know, our spirit and our thoughts, our feelings, and our words, they are all aligned. They are all the same, and they are aligned with our highest and best self, and you know, the truest expression of who we are. And when we are in this energy, we are just on a collision course with success and victory. You know, we're going to get there as long as we can maintain that balance and maintain that energy. We can achieve anything that we want to achieve. And the Nine of Cups is here, which is wish fulfillment. This is happiness, you know, this is Piscean energy. And then you have another energy of the Hermit. And so with these two nines right back to back, this tells me this is like a singular energy. You know, it begins with us. It begins with the alignment within ourselves. It begins with the clear vision and picture of what we want for our future, what our wish fulfillment looks like. And then and that is developed through this energy of the Hermit, of asking ourselves, what do I want? Who am I? What's the most important thing to me? It's asking ourselves, you know, where do I fall on the spectrum? You know, how can I affect change on what I see outside myself by becoming the change inside myself? When we come to that place, we are in that Empress energy. Nothing is impossible. You are limitless. You have reached your full potential. You can manifest anything. You are just a conduit of making the impossible possible. You know, you are abundant, you are fertile, you are a creator, you are all of these things, and you're just giving birth. You're just, I say just, I can't believe it. But you are this incredible expression of your full potential, basically. Then you have the Ten of Pentacles with the Devil. And, you know, this, like, where does the Ten of Pentacles start? It starts with the Ace of Pentacles. It starts with that opportunity that the universe gives us. What is the Devil? The Devil is our own limiting beliefs. It is our own, lower vibrational tendencies, our fear, illusions, those things that prevent us from being able to move from the opportunity to the full realization of it in the 10, right? The completion of that cycle, the full abundance, the weight of the abundance of investing in it day after day, believing in it day after day, and arriving there. I am going to take one on the Devil. But with the Lovers, it's like the Falcon, right? This is our choice. These are all based on the choices that we make and the way that we're seeing things. Oh my gosh. I said this is about the choices we make and the way that we're seeing things. And literally you have the High Priestess, which is like seeing things from our highest and best self and seeing the possibilities and tapping into our highest and best self to get us through to overcome these lower vibrational tendencies that we have, right? And twos are always choice points. And with the Two of Cups, these are healthy choices. These are choices that support what we are trying to do, what we are going for. With the Queen of Pentacles, it's giving me that cardinal energy, even the redness of her. Look at that. I mean, seriously, holy crap, man. Look at that. Doesn't that just, do something to you. But it's about knowing our worth and knowing our value, and not just giving our energy, our goodness, our love, just not offering it to people who don't see it, to people who don't recognize it, to situations and circumstances that can't return it, can't see it, can't appreciate it. And so it is being a little bit elusive. God, you guys, I don't know what's going on with Pisces energy right here, but you have the King of Wands with the Three of Wands, and you have the Knight of Cups here on the bottom of the deck. Oh, I just love these cards. Okay, the King of Wands, you know, this energy is someone who knows what they want and is going to go after it. And they have really mastered their knowledge of their own desire and their capacity to go after it and achieve it and get it. With the Three of Wands, this is planning and strategy. It is also representational of a little hope from the universe, right? Because in the Three of Wands, you know, we have this energy of your ships will come in. But it's having faith that your ships will come in. It's the energy of not panicking, of knowing that everything comes in the right timing. And as much as we plan and we strategize, as much as we use all of our tools of, you know, mental acumen and experience and all of these things to try to bring something about, to a certain extent, there is a lot we cannot control. And there's a lot that we just have to trust is coming toward us and will come toward us as a result of the effort and energy that we're putting into the thing. The Knight of Cups energy asks us, does this make me feel better or does it make me feel worse? And to move by that knowledge, to move by the answer to that question. It makes me feel worse, I move away from it. It makes me feel better, I move toward it. In this way, I'm always in the pursuit of what feels good, and that is taking me on a journey of my heart. That is taking me on a journey of my emotion, of, you know, allowing emotion to guide me toward what is meant for me. What is meant for me on a heart level. You guys, please leave Jen comments in the comments about her. Oh, you guys, the sun. It's like I talk about this deck and they come out. You guys, look at this sun card. Just think about the energy of the sun. You know, in Rider-Waite, right, it's that naked child on the back of the horse with the red scarf going behind him, and it represents happiness and innocence and, you know, childlike curiosity and wonder. And look at the sun card. Clarity, happiness, joy. Look at the sun card. Ah, it is a thing of beauty. Okay, then you have the Three of Pentacles and the Page of Cups. Wow, you know the Three of Pentacles is, and I wish you could see all the detail, but I'm sure it's like if I don't hold it all the way up, do you see the details? You probably can't really see it. But you're just gonna have to take my word for it. These are just gorgeous. Anyway, and I mean, look at the colors, my God. Okay, but the Three of Pentacles, this is where, you know, we have a vision and then, you know, we meet someone who can take our vision and create a plan for that vision. And then we meet someone else who can take the vision and the plan and bring it into actual reality, bring it into the material world. Someone with that talent. And then we become a team, a true collaborative effort, you know, without one, the other would not have purpose or meaning, would not be, you know, their skill, their whatever they were bringing to the table wouldn't have the same value, the same weight. But because we have found each other and we have found this space where we can share these ideas, this plan, and this action, we have the capacity to make something beautiful. We have the capacity to bring something completely unique to life, that even if one person had the vision and one person had the plan, it's like, maybe I have a vision for a house and I go to an architect and I say, I really want to build this house and I want my kitchen here and I want my bathroom here. And the architect says, well, okay, but let me tell you that water pipes, we don't want to run them all over the house. That's just not an efficient use of space, What if we change it and your bathroom is closer to your kitchen so that the water pipes don't have to run so far? And then I go, oh, okay, I had no knowledge of how actually an architect designs a house, but now that I do, that makes sense, and that's going to make my house a more efficient place and, easier to repair if God forbid that ever needs to happen, and it just, whatever it does, it's doing it, and I couldn't have known it. And then, the builder gets here and I say, I wanted this kind of wood floor, and the builder says to me, well, that kind of wood floor is really good, but let me tell you the downside of it, having built many houses, I know that when you use this kind of wood as a floor, it's very soft and it gets these pits in it, which sometimes people like, but it also needs to be refinished, every 2 years, and it needs this and it needs that, and you're going to have to wax it once a month. And, do you want to put that much effort and energy into your floors? At which point I say, no, I have way more things to do than take care of my floors in my life. And he says, well, can I suggest to you this alternative flooring? And then the house is made more beautiful and more stronger because of the contribution of that person. So if it had just gone all the way from start to finish with my vision and no one ever said to me, hey, this could be better or this could be that, Lord only knows what we would have ended up with. But it's made better and stronger and richer by the influence and input of all of these other things. However, it is still my vision. It's still the vision of me building this house of my dreams, right? With the Page of Cups, this card always talks about, authenticity and truth. And that is something that each one of us has different from each one of us, right? We are all different. We are all the same. We are all spiritual beings having a human experience. And that is a much more unifying thing. Like, we all have much more in common than we do different. But where we differ is also beautiful. You have a set of skills and strengths just like the builder and the architect that, like, I don't have as the visionaire, but when we all bring our truth and we all bring our authenticity to the table and we all share in that and we all delight in that and we all see the beauty in that and we admire each one for their thing, this life is a celebration. Life is a happiness. Life is joy. Life is the sun, And so there is something here where I feel there is an opportunity coming where the closer you are to your most authentic self and to your honest vision and your honest, you stay the most true to your honest self, the happier in the end you will be, the clearer you are going to see things. I feel this energy of stuff swirling around us, right? And it could all be very distracting. It's enough for all of us to sort of turn our focus and focus on it. But if we focus on it, we become part of it. We become part of the entropy of the universe. And that brings more chaos. But when we focus on ourselves and we focus on staying true to ourselves and being that pillar of consciousness in the center of the Wheel of Fortune, all of that's going to go on around us regardless. But we can be the peace. We can be the truth. And when we stay there, we're going to find more people that stay there with us. And then what we create lowers the entropy of the entire universe. It creates drag and friction for that, and it brings happiness, it brings joy, and it brings clarity on how we navigate the space. Okay, I don't know. Wow, I do not even know. Wow, we have the Three of Swords coming out with the Death card. Oh, Oh, my card. Oh my God, Jen, look, it's the Seven of Pentacles. This is my card, you guys. This is my card. Oh, this is my card that Jen made for me. Okay, oh my God. And the Seven of Pentacles, you guys, look at this Seven of Pentacles. Do you see all the safety pins? I associate safety pins with allies, with people who are safe. And the seven, and I know there's a reason for that. I just can't think of what it is. But the Seven of Pentacles is, when I meditated on this energy, I meditated on all the tarot cards to get my own feelings about what the cards are, what the energy is that they hold. And the Seven of Pentacles, this gorgeous calm comes over me. And it is the message of, you are exactly where you are meant to be. Everything is unfolding exactly as it is supposed to. And Jen said, I can't wait to find out what definition or what meaning you're going to give to the White Lotus card. And I meditated on the energy, and what I got was opening up to expansion and to growth. And to, you know, knowing that the lotus comes from mud, right? No mud, no lotus. But the lotus, when it's flowering above water, it's not sitting there talking about the fact that it comes from mud. You know, it's left that part of its life behind. That part of its life served it. Do you remember when I read the book by Bernard Cornwell, The Winter King? And there was a quote in there where the scribe was trying to write about King Arthur. And he asked King Arthur about his childhood. And King Arthur kept refusing to answer. And then at one point he said, what is the egg to the eagle anyway? And that energy comes through with this card to me. What is the egg to the eagle anyway? You know, what is it? It was at one point relevant, but just kind of isn't anymore. Does the eagle ever think about the egg after it takes flight? And, you know, no, it doesn't. I doubt it. I can't imagine it does. And so it's kind of this energy. We are free to become whoever we want to be. We are free to open up into the world and into the sun and into the light, however we see fit for ourselves. It has nothing to do with where we came from. It has nothing to do with, you know, anything other than the choice that we make to open and to blossom and to become, you know? And with that card coming out with the Seven of Pentacles, which has always given me this vibe of, you are exactly where you are meant to be. Everything is unfolding exactly as it is supposed to. I mean, that is a hugely spiritual combination right there. And I'm just going to put it out there in that exact way and let you do with it what it means to you. The Three of Swords with the Death card is an end of suffering. I mean, and it is, wow, holy shit. It is an end of suffering. And it is also like a rebirth. You know, Joe Dispenza has these meditations where he you literally turn the page and you are not your past anymore. Your past is like just what it is, past, behind you, done. You know, you don't have to give it another thought. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to use it to justify where you are now. You don't have to use it to explain anything to anyone. That is what it was, and it's done, and now here you are, and now you're making conscious choices from the place you're in to be what you want to be and to open up to what you want to open up to. It is literally crazy. I just looked out my office window and there are like storm clouds. The whole thing, I would say 5% of what I can see out my window is just the brightest, bluest sky, and the rest of it is storm clouds. It's just so bizarre. But it's an interesting juxtaposition to this, right? But with the Death and the Three of Swords, you know, we don't have to keep the suffering going. We don't have to always say, yes, I have suffered and that is why I am this way. Or, you know, I have suffered and it in any way defines me. You know, no, it doesn't have to be that way. I sure as fuck don't want to be defined by my suffering. You know, I don't want, you know, my children at my funeral to stand up there and be like, well, you know, her parents really sucked. You know, and that's why she just kind of like lived the life she lived. No, I want my kids to be like, nothing ever stopped my mom. You know, my mom was out there just doing it. She believed in it. She was faithful to it. She tried really hard not to let fear and doubt catch her. And she just enjoyed the process of life and trying to figure out being the most she could be at any given time. That's how she lived. You know what I mean? So there we have it. Then you have the King of Swords. And damn, if that isn't just everything right there, you know, what is the King of Swords? The King of Swords is where we master our thoughts, where our thoughts no longer control us. There's like almost nothing we can control in life, you know, really and truly control in life. The one thing that we know for sure that has been proven that we can control are our thoughts. And so becoming a King of Swords is becoming the master of your thoughts, not letting your thoughts stop you from being the limitless truth that you are. The limitless, divine, gorgeous, unique, very special, lovely person that you are. It's our thoughts that keep us from it. It's our thoughts that we have to fight. It's our thoughts that are always at the ready to do us in and to make us turn around and fly back the way we came instead of going across the Gulf of Mexico. And they keep us from running the marathon, from doing the thing, from making the tarot deck, from being the apprentice, from, you know, learning what it is we want to learn, from looking at that beginning and abandoning it or saying yes to it. It's our thoughts. Because our thoughts create our choices. Our thoughts create our reality. You hear it all the time, all that spiritual mumbo jumbo. They always say that. And it's the one thing that we can control. Wow. Jeez, Jen, this is so crazy. The Temperance card came out, and it's funny, when Jen and I were going through the deck yesterday, and she was telling me, like, Temperance, there was a storm over an ocean when she painted this, and you know, I was looking at it and like, you know, Temperance is where two energies join together in equality. And you have this creamy color and this dark color, and then you have the space where, you know, the water brought them together. I mean, guys, you know, okay. There's a celebration of, this is a celebration. This is like, I'm getting a baptism. It is a birth of a new time, a new space, a new moment, a new day in your life, a new opportunity. And you have the King of Cups. This is where we master our emotions. This is where, you know, we are no longer reactive to, you know, feeling a certain kind of way. We don't shut down. We don't close up. We can handle it. We observe it and we respond to it. And we are conscious choosers of our response to our feelings. We are not like, I have no control, I'm angry. I have no control, I'm passionate. I have no control, I'm impatient. I have no control, I'm this, I'm that, you know. This is like, I feel it, I observe it, and I consciously choose my response to it. It's a new beginning. What can we achieve when we're in the driver's seat like that? When we're in control of our thoughts and our feelings? What can we do? The sky is the limit. Eight of Swords to the Nine of Swords to the Eight of Pentacles. God, what a gorgeous message. Oh. So we have the progress through the sword cycle. You know, the king is the master. But we don't master something by never experiencing it, by avoiding it. We master it by looking at it and sitting with it, right? Even when it's ugly, even when we don't want to, even when we don't want to acknowledge those lower vibrational tendencies that we all have, even when we don't want to completely embrace our humanity. You know, when you think about like unconditional love and like what that is, you know, very few people really actually experience unconditional love because love has become so conditional. It's so like, especially like even with parents, I really feel like, like I look at my grandma and, she had a child that was very difficult, that was very challenging, and that, his, my dad had four brothers. There were five boys. And the middle one was really, really just so difficult to deal with. And all of his brothers, really, there wasn't any of them that were kind of, in defense of him or tried to help him or tried to protect him. But my grandma, we sat down and we were talking one time, and she said, Grandpa and I knew that this child was going to be, very difficult, that they were different than everybody else, and that we were going to have to give more to this child, and that we were going to have to keep an eye on this child. And I guess when he was a little boy, there was like a storm outside, and she looked out the kitchen window, and they had this big weeping willow tree in the yard, and he was hanging from a weeping willow branch, flying back and forth in the wind, and she about had a heart attack. And she that's how she started the story about him. And she was like, but, he was ours. He was our child. We brought him into this world. Like, we had to see him through. We had to just do what needed to be done. We needed to figure it out. And it's so funny and ironic because my dad and his brothers, like, all of them have abandoned their children. I mean, if they had them, they have abandoned them at one point or another. And, my grandma and grandpa never, even when the child was difficult, did they do that. And so sometimes I think, I don't want to make like gross generalizations or stereotypes, but sometimes, when you are a child who is unconditionally loved, you don't even recognize what unconditional love is. And you don't realize the value of it and how that unconditional love allowed you to be all that you could be, to accept every possibility of who you were, and to not need to be a perfectionist. Do you know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's so hard because trying to then become that energy yourself, trying to live up to that, can also be very, very difficult. My grandparents were in the greatest generation, and I really think that that's true. Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with all of that, except to say this, that, we, with the Eight of Swords and the Nine of Swords, there is this energy of, self-entrapment with our own thoughts and fear. And, we become the master of this by being willing to acknowledge this, by being willing to say, I'm human. Sometimes I get stuck in thought cycles that do not serve me. Sometimes fear really overtakes me. Sometimes I'm scared to death in this life. Admitting this, acknowledging this, is part of unconditionally loving ourselves. Accepting that this is part of the human experience is part of unconditionally loving ourselves. The other part of unconditionally loving ourselves is saying, how do I want to respond to this? How do I want to deal with this? What can I learn from this? How do I navigate this space so that it doesn't cripple me and prevent me from being all that I'm capable of being? So that, how do I turn this into a strength? Eight of Pentacles, hard work, putting in the effort to master myself. Part of mastering myself is acknowledging my own weakness, is acknowledging where I can do better. Part of it is consciously just allowing myself to introspect and say, is this choice panning out for me? When I look at my life, does it look like what I want it to look like? And if it does, okay, great. And if it doesn't, all right, let's sit down and let's look at where that's coming from. Most of the time it comes from this space, either where we have entrapped ourselves in a thought cycle or a limiting belief that does not serve us, or where fear has sunk its claws into us. But we have the power to take our energy back from those energies all the time. We have the power to put the work in to master our thoughts. And we don't reach the King of Swords and then just stay there. There are constant challenges and threats to that. We have to make the conscious choices to stay there. And part of that conscious choice is allowing ourselves to admit and acknowledge, you know what, I'm scared right now. You know what, I'm locked into a limiting belief and it's keeping me stuck. There's no shame in that. There's no flaw in that. And if you're capable of unconditional love, you can still love yourself through that. You will still love yourself through that. Oh, man. Oh, my God. If you guys could have been flies on the wall when Jen and I had our conversation yesterday, to just know that, like, probably every card that we were, like, so focused on has come out in this reading. I love this strength card, right? Because what is strength? Strength is where we overcome our lower vibrational tendencies. And these reminded me of, like, knives or swords, right? And I mean, I just, like, said this to Jen yesterday when I was looking at it. And there's this one, right? All we have to do is change one thought. All we have to do is accept one other possibility. That's all we have to do to overcome our lower vibrational tendencies. We just have to have 1 second, 1 millisecond of a belief that it could be different. That maybe we are capable of flying across the Gulf of Mexico without stopping in the body of a hummingbird. We have the Knight of Swords and the Fool card. You know, the Fool card is where we are absolutely guided to take a leap of faith, where we just almost like can't hold ourselves back. Like we just have to. We just have to try it. We just have to see. We just have to go for it. We're just so called to it that we must. And with the Knight of Swords, this is just like a very fast moving energy. And it is a moving, that people call the Knight of Swords reckless, right? We've had this conversation even this week. And you know, because the Knight of Swords takes off, like has this spark of truth and then takes off with it. Doesn't think about any other perspective, doesn't think about any of the possible ramifications or the dangers or anything that they might meet. The purpose is just really fast movement, going in this direction. This came to me, I believe in it, I'm doing it. Fear can't stop me, nothing can stop me. You know, and so sometimes, are you going to run your life into a ditch? Yes. But sometimes, are you going to achieve something that you wouldn't have been able to achieve had you given yourself a spare moment to think about it or to think about all the possibilities of things that could happen that could go wrong? Yes. So it's a double-edged sword. It is like all other energies in life on a spectrum with a dark side and a light side, you know? And sometimes we need that push in order to just take the leap of faith, in order to just do it. We need to not think about it so much. We need to not get lost or stuck. And sometimes that's the one thought that we have to do different. With the Five of Wands, this is talking about obstacles and delays and things. But oftentimes, the Five of Wands are the obstacles and delays that are within us, the blockages that are within us. And how do we expose the blockages that are within us the best? By going for things in life. You know, when you, sometimes, if you're just by yourself, right, and you're just hanging out in your house, and you've been heartbroken, but you have really focused on your healing, and you've really, like, done a lot of reading, done a lot of, you know, whatever, to, like, improve your life and to, like, make you feel like, okay, I'm healed, I'm ready to get back out there. You can absolutely feel 100% free of any blockages. It's not until you start trying to have a relationship, when the old fears creep in, when the difficulty trusting someone creeps in, when you want to say something to someone or ask someone something, but you can't get the words out. Because you're scared or because there's a blockage that is there existing from that past experience. You don't know until you test the thing. You don't know until you go for it what is there. But you know what? Whenever one of those things is exposed, that's your greatest opportunity. That's not a threat to you. That's a gift to you. That's an opportunity to you. Because you can say, oh, now that I know it's here, I can deal with it. Now that I know it's here, I can fix it. I can set about pulling that barrier or that obstacle apart. And what do we learn from barriers and obstacles? We learn more about ourselves. We learn more about what we are capable of doing. Sometimes we think, I'll never get over that. I'll never be able to trust someone again. I'll never be able to love someone unconditionally again. I'll never be able to. Well, then somebody comes along that makes it worth it for you to try, and you start dismantling it, and you go, holy shit, I can do it. Oh my God, I just didn't know. I didn't know because I didn't try, because I was willing to sit there with the blockage. 9 of Pentacles. You with you, overcoming it all. Pre-Empress energy. Okay, what a pleasure. Thank you again, Jen, for creating this deck. I have really thoroughly enjoyed this reading very much. I will actually probably watch this reading. I don't usually watch them. But yeah, all right, let's get some message cards here, guys. Okay. If you're dealing with a water sign, be patient with me, please. You are the one. I am working on myself. I just need more time, and trust me. If you're dealing with a fire sign, you have stuck. I'm still moved by you. My karmic story is ending. I want to be vulnerable with you. You will always be my secret love. I want to talk to you, and I've been having weird dreams about us. Oh my gosh. Also, this is one of the 8s in the deck, and it's the last card. Wow, that is so crazy. The maiden voyage of the 8-year tarot. Here it is. If you're dealing with an earth sign, it's hard for me to explain things. I can't stop thinking of you. I thought about reaching out, but I don't know what to say. I can't walk away. Regret. If you're dealing with an air sign, wishy-washy. Your words speak to me like no others can. I don't want to let you down. Resentment. I want your attention. Honest. And I am sorry I triggered you. All right, guys. Well, please be sure to let Jen know what you think in the comments. And also, guys, can we please say a prayer for Debbie again? She is back in the hospital, and bless her heart. I don't know how she stays so strong. I really don't. Debbie, if you're listening to this, I am sending you so much love and light. I cannot wait to talk to you at your next reading. And I just, oh my goodness, stay strong. Stay strong. So if you can please keep Debbie in your thoughts and prayers, I would really, really, really appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. Until next time, I send you off with all my very best. Always, always, always.